Hey everyone, it's India with Align and Incline, and I wanted to share my story or my side of the story about why Align and Incline is so important to me. With Mercury being in retrograde right now, it's really a time of reflection, a time to just kind of listen and to understand what the universe is telling us. And last night I actually did a retrograde reflection that kind of became a little emotional for me, in thinking that, my life where it is today is a lot different than where it was previously, even just last year, just a few years ago. And so I'm trying to be really brave, and I'm trying to tell my story. And then maybe you all will kind of relate or feel less alone, or just really understand why this is so important to me to be starting this business with my best friend. So I'm going to start off with, I'm going to skip the childhood part of things. Everybody kind of claims to have a weird childhood, but, I'm skipping that whole part because I don't feel like it's relevant to this. But I've always been a kid that's kind of been into the paranormal. I've always been into living existentially, and feeling maybe a little bit of an outsider in my life as a younger child. But I feel like that has shaped me as the adult that I am today, which is great, and has given me kind of the strength to deal with certain issues that have come up in my life. So starting off a few years ago, for those of you who don't know me personally, I've been married. It'll be 10 years this year to my wonderful husband. But things have not always been great. They may seem great on the surface, but our marriage, just like any others, has dealt with a lot of turmoil, a lot of trust issues, and it's been real work, to say the least, to stay happy and to stay in love. And we are still happy and we are still in love, but that's, a blessing that's come out of all of the challenges that have come up in our life and in our relationship together over these past 13 years. So a few years back, about 5 or 6 years back, we dealt with some really strong marital issues where I didn't know if we were going to be together anymore. And that is something that really messes with a girl's self-worth. And that's been something that I've really struggled with building back up throughout those years. Also, for those of you who don't know me, we moved from Florida to Ohio just over a year ago. And the decision to do that, I would say, has been the best decision of my life. We were in kind of a dark space when we lived in Florida. We had a lot of issues that came up between us maritally. We had a lot of issues that came up personally for each of us, dealing with grief and dealing with loss, and really just dealing with the fact that we've got 2 kids, and there's just a lot going on. And everybody kind of processes those emotions differently. And for me, I turned to substance abuse. And as hard as it is to talk about this, I think it's important because there's such a stigma around these kinds of coping mechanisms and what someone's going through in their life. And there's a lot of judgment and criticism that comes along with that. And that's okay to feel like you can't cope sometimes. It's totally okay. And something that I've learned in coming out of this, and literally the only reason that I feel like I got out of this, was the fact that I realized I was stronger than whatever was going on in my life. And I realized that I had to be strong because my daughters look up to me as a role model. So we decided at the end of 2016 that like enough was enough. And something had to change because the negative energy in the space that we were living in, and the people that we were surrounding ourselves with at that time, it was just not good. And I felt stuck. I felt like I was suffocating. And so we made the decision that we were going to start completely over. My family lives in Ohio, where we are now relatively close. And I really feel like it was the best decision to move here. Not just because my family was here, but because we got to get away from everything that seemed to be like weighing on us at that time. And that's not to say there weren't people that loved us in Florida, because there was a lot of love. But for us to be in a healthy situation, with our kids, with each other, just with everything, we had to completely just like strip away everything and just start over. And not only were we dealing with those unhealthy coping mechanisms, but also in 2015 I was dealing with an undiagnosed illness. I spent 6 months out of the year of 2015 from about June to like December in a wheelchair. And I was 25 years old. I had no idea, what was happening. I was getting different possible diagnoses from different doctors. And it was really a frustrating time for me because, I was a 25-year-old at home with my kids. I couldn't even wheel myself into the restroom. I couldn't bathe myself, and as a mom and as a woman, not being able to take care of your family the way that you feel like you should be able to take care of your family as a healthy young woman, I felt like that was really stripped away from me in that time. And I turned a lot to alcohol, and I didn't know how to pull myself out of that darkness. I was basically feeling useless and like I didn't deserve the things that I had in my life. And that was kind of a hard concept to grasp for me at that time. I was so riddled with like the feeling of guilt of not being able to not only take care of myself, but to take care of my family. But I wasn't able to work. So a lot of the financial responsibility fell onto my husband, and that added pressure was giving him stress as well. And it just felt like everything was kind of spiraling out of control. And it was like the gutsiest thing I've ever had to do, to just kind of leave that situation behind and start fresh. But we did it. We decided at the end of 2016 that we were tired of it. We couldn't do it anymore. I had recovered by that point, but the lasting effects of like the anxiety, like inside of me, like if this happened once, it can happen again. It was kind of eating me alive. And I felt really helpless in that situation. I stopped socializing. I stopped hanging out with my friends. I stopped enjoying life. I stopped completely enjoying life. And it was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do, to completely leave. And not only just for me to leave, because I had lived there for, since I was in middle school. But to take my kids away from everything that they had ever known and everyone that they had ever known, and to make my husband leave the job that he was at for 10 plus years, and to just pack up and, we fit everything in our life that we had inside a 4x8 trailer, and we drove 15 hours and we didn't know where we were going to live. We knew that my husband had gotten a job because he had previously applied, but I was grateful that we had family that let us stay with them for several months until we could really figure out what our plan was when we got here. And I'm happy to say that we've been here for over a year now, and the universe has just blessed us beyond belief. And I think it's because of our courage to try to make our lives better and to make ourselves better as people. How this relates to align and incline, I know I got a little off topic, but so my best friend moved to Portland, and she moved about a year before we decided to make our move, and she really had no idea that I was struggling like I was. I didn't want to worry her because she was starting this whole new like grand adventure with her life, and I didn't want to do anything to like put any sort of negativity on her. And so when she moved to Portland, that was kind of one turning point where it kind of made myself realize that like if she can kind of get out of the situations that she felt were holding her back, then I could too. So she moved to Portland, and I was heartbroken, of course, but I was so happy that she was like doing what she wanted to do and following her dreams, and that was where she was supposed to be. So fast forward to this year when we started Align and Incline, I basically had just had enough of feeling sorry for myself. I had been healthy since, the beginning of 2017. And I had been doing a lot better as far as like in my relationships with not only my children, but with my husband. But I still felt like something was missing for me. I was homeschooling my kids, and I still am, which is challenging, but also very, very rewarding. But in that, I realized that I'm kind of like a badass. Like I can do anything that I put my mind to. And I just feel like I needed to find a purpose outside of just being like a mother and a wife, and really finding something that I enjoyed doing and that I loved doing for myself. And when I had always kind of been into, like I said, the paranormal and like what else is out there and the metaphysical. And it just kind of seemed right that Align and Incline kind of was birthed into the world at the time that it was. Because I felt like there was a shift in my energy and in my universe when I moved here. And in a positive shift at that one. And so when Align and Incline came about, it really was kind of like a spur of the moment thing. Like my friend and I were video chatting, and we were kind of coming up with ideas about like where our lives were going to go together, as well as separately. And Align and Incline just kind of happened. Her name is Ash, so the A for Align. My name is India, the I for Incline. When you align yourself, you can incline upward. And all of it just kind of made sense. And in that moment, I realized that my universe was trying to tell me this is what I needed to be doing. I needed to be able to use my story, to be able to use my empathy like towards others to heal, and to heal not only myself, but to heal and put my good energy and my good intention out into the world. And so ever since then, I kind of feel like the universe has just been smiling down on me. Everything has kind of been working out. I don't wake up feeling as groggy as I used to, and I don't know if that has anything to do with just being a more positive person. I don't feel like that energy is weighing me down. But also, energetically, I just feel like I don't need to have all those negative coping mechanisms that I had before to get through life. I feel like I'm learning and arming myself with the knowledge through the crystal healing course that I'm doing, through my own studies that I'm doing about the metaphysical and how we really control everything in our own universe. And that's such an empowering thought to me. Like, I am in control. And that's an affirmation that I need to say to myself more often. I am in control of my own life. And really, this retrograde has, most people see it as a negative thing. You're not supposed to argue with others, and, it makes communication difficult. But I am finding the tools in myself to be able to put myself into, the energy of everything that's going on around me in a positive way. And I feel empowered. I really, really do. So Align and Incline is not just making jewelry. It's not just, It's not just enchanting things. It's not just making prints. It's not just making soaps, but really it's about like doing these things to help me find myself as a woman. And I couldn't be happier. Honestly, I feel like this is the right thing to do, and I feel like the universe is really telling me that this is the path that I need to take. And for the first time in a long time, I'm setting goals for myself. I'm setting goals for myself to be happier every day. I'm setting goals for myself to be healthier every day. I'm setting goals for myself to stress less. I'm setting goals for myself to spend more time with my kids. I'm setting goals for myself to put more trust into the people that love me. Instead of pushing people away, I'm trying to let more people in. And really with this video, what I wanted to do was to just kind of share my experience. And as hard as it is to sometimes like tell the truth about yourself, like that's what's going to make all of us better. And so I hope that with Align and Incline being where it is right now, I hope that it grows. I hope that it grows into something that in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years, that it's something that benefits not only me, that benefits not only Ash, that not only benefits the ones that we love around us, but we can push forth into the world and put more good into the world, because there is way too much toxicity these days. And I really feel like if more people just kind of sat back and listened to what the universe was trying to tell them, we would all just be much happier as human beings. I've started going to therapy, and that's something that I feel like has been really beneficial to me in controlling my stress, controlling my emotions, and I feel like it's going to be beneficial to everyone that I am trying to heal in the future, because you can't heal other people unless you heal yourself, and I'm fully aware of that, and I'm working on that. And I hope that the goals that I set for myself can remain realistic and can push me to want to try to reach them and to, try is the main word. Like you're gonna fail at some things and you're gonna succeed at some things, but I hope that my failures in life, that I can learn from those, and then I can push myself to be better and to succeed. And I hope that everything that I'm learning about myself can be something that I can then translate into my daughter's lives, because they're going to be young women at some point in their lives, and they're going to have to deal with a lot of the same pressures and same issues that I've had to deal with in my life. And I want to know that I can equip them properly for the world that we live in today. So that's why Align and Incline is so important to me. That's why it means so much to me. I'm so glad to be going through this with my best friend. I feel like she just gets me. And I am so looking forward to all the great things that we are going to do in our future. So thank you for listening. This has been very therapeutic in and of itself. And take the time out while Mercury's in retrograde until April 15th to really look at yourself, look at your universe, and see what's speaking to you. And you may not feel inclined to make any big changes. It's actually not recommended while Mercury's in retrograde, but plan the next steps in your life. Set realistic goals and just push yourself to get through every single day in a positive way. And there's going to be days where it sucks. And I'm not going to lie, there's still days where I struggle. I struggle to maintain my sanity. I mean, it's true. But if you're putting forth the effort to live intentionally and to live positively and to make your dreams come true, then like anything's possible. So just remember that. And I really hope that this video can inspire other people to live their truths. And I hope and pray that all of you are fulfilled in your lives, and that you can get through every single day knowing that you're worth it, that your family loves you, there's always going to be people that love you, and that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. So I'm signing off now, and I hope that you guys can check out more videos from Align and Incline. I know this one was a little long and a little emotional, but I really appreciate you all listening, and don't forget to reach for your dreams. Take care.